How about Peppa Pig? Happy birthday, Peppa. Once upon a time, it was nearly Peppa's birthday, and she was on the phone to Susie Sheep.
I'm going to have a party, and Daddy is doing a magic show,
Peppa told Susie excitedly. I hope you don't mind, Daddy, Mummy Pig whispered. I promised Peppa.
Oh, not at all, Daddy Pig replied. Of course, the amazing Mysterio will make a special appearance.
George was excited too. He loved parties and magic shows. Peppa wanted to start planning her party straight away. She asked Mummy Pig if she could invite all her friends. Yes, Mummy Pig said, and George can invite some too.
But George's friends are little,
Peppa said. Mummy Pig told Peppa that she could teach George's friends all the party games.
Oh, yes! I am very good at that,
agreed Peppa. Soon it was Peppa's birthday. It was very early in the morning, but Peppa was already wide awake.
Wake up! It's my birthday!
Peppa shouted, bouncing on Mummy and Daddy Pig's bed. What time is it? Asked Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig checked. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. At 7 o'clock, everyone was dressed and ready for breakfast. OK, let's get your birthday started, Mummy Pig said. George passed Peppa her birthday present.
Happy birthday, Peppa!
Mummy and Daddy Pig said together, said George. Peppa tore off the pretty paper excitedly. It was a pink polka dot dress for Teddy.
Oh, thank you, everyone,
she cried. Ding dong! Peppa's friends had arrived. Happy birthday, Peppa! Shouted Candy Cat, Susie Sheep, Danny Dog, Rebecca Rabbit, Zoe Zebra, Emily Elephant, and Pedro Pony. George's little friends were there too. Squeak! Trumpet! No! No! Said Richard Rabbit, Edmund Elephant, and Zuzu and Zaza Zebra. Peppa explained how to play musical statues to George and his friends.
You have to dance when the music is playing, and when it stops, freeze, like a statue.
Click! Danny Dog pressed play on the stereo, but no one moved.
You've got to dance,
Peppa called. The little children started to dance.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Click! Danny Dog turned off the stereo. George, Richard, Edmund, Zuzu and Zaza froze.
You're moving, George, Peppa said. You're out.
George cried very loudly. One by one, all of George's friends were out, except for Zaza.
Zaza is the winner,
Emily Elephant announced.
Here's your medal,
she added, looping the red ribbon around little zebras' necks.
It's made of real plastic gold,
Candy Cat said.
Wah!
Cried George, Richard, Edmund and Zuzu. They wanted medals too. Daddy Pig hurried in to cheer everyone up with a magic show.
Peppa, whispered Daddy Pig, remember to introduce me as the amazing Mysterio.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Magic Daddy,
said Peppa. Hooray! The audience cheered and clapped. Magic Daddy took off his top hat and waved a hand over it, ready to perform his first trick.
Ta-da!
Teddy appeared from Magic Daddy's hat. The children clapped again.
For my next trick, I need a helper from the audience,
said Magic Daddy. Everyone put their hands up. Magic Daddy chose Susie Sheep.
Okay, Susie, here are 3 coloured balls,
he said, turning his back and closing his eyes.
You have to secretly choose one while I'm not looking.
Susie picked up the red ball.
Abracadabra,
Magic Daddy said.
You chose yellow,
Magic Daddy guessed.
Squeak, no,
said Susie Sheep. Magic Daddy guessed again.
You chose a blue.
squeak, no,
Susie Sheep said. Magic Daddy had one more guess.
You chose red.
yes, squeak,
Susie Sheep said. Hooray! The children cheered and clapped. Peppa wasn't sure Magic Daddy should have said all 3 colours, but she clapped anyway. Next, Magic Daddy turned off the lights.
Close your eyes. No peeping. Now, say the magic word.
abracadabra,
The children cried.
Open your eyes,
cried Magic Daddy, turning the lights back on. The children opened their eyes. Ooh! They gasped. Mummy Pig was holding a delicious-looking cake with 4 candles on it.
my banana birthday cake,
Cried Peppa. Blow the candles out, Peppa, Mummy Pig said.
and don't forget to make a wish.
Daddy Pig added. Peppa squeezed her eyes shut and wished very hard. Then, whoosh! She blew them all out at once. Hooray! Cheered her friends. Happy birthday, Peppa! Susie Sheep asked her what she'd wished, but Peppa wouldn't tell. She really wanted her birthday wish to come true.
And finally,
Announced Magic Daddy.
I have one last trick to amaze you with. Abracadabra!
He pulled a present from his top hat and handed it to Peppa. Peppa squealed, "Eee!" tearing off the paper and opening the box. Inside was a beautiful pair of yellow wellies. Right, boots on, everyone, Mummy Pig called. All the children ran to the hall and put on their wellies.
what's happening?
Peppa asked.
Why has everyone bought their boots?
Peppa, George and their friends followed Mummy Pig out into the garden. Peppa was so excited she couldn't stop skipping. Daddy Pig and George quickly picked up 2 buckets and poured water all over the grass. Surprise! Everyone shouted. Happy birthday, Peppa!
Puddles!
Hooray! Peppa yelled, leaping in and jumping up and down.
My birthday wish came true! Come on, everyone!
Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, George, George's friends and Peppa's friends all jumped in. Everyone loves jumping in muddy puddles.
This is the best birthday ever!
Shouted Peppa. And that was Peppa Pig. Happy birthday, Peppa. Peppa Pig. Peppa at the beach. Peppa and her family are on holiday at Kylie Kangaroo's house.
Today we're going to the beach,
says Mr. Kangaroo.
Yippee!
Cries Peppa.
I love the beach.
Mummy Pig helps the children put on their sun cream and life vests. Kylie gets out her surfboard.
What do you do with that?
Asks Peppa.
You lie on the board and the waves push you along,
Says Kylie.
Come and see.
Kylie shows Peppa how to surf.
The tricky bit is catching the wave, she says. Ready? Steady. Now!
Peppa and Kylie jump on their surfboards just in time. The wave carries them along.
I can surf!
Laughs Peppa. George wants to go surfing, but the waves are getting too big.
Oh, is it time to go home now?
Wonders Daddy Pig.
Are you kidding?
Says Mr. Kangaroo.
These big waves are perfect for grown-ups.
Mr. and Mrs. Kangaroo grab their surfboards. After a little while, the waves go away again. Mr. and Mrs. Kangaroo come back in from the sea.
Too bad, Mr. Pig,
says Mr. Kangaroo.
You've missed your chance to surf today.
Daddy Pig doesn't mind. Now the water is just right to take George for a swim. George and Daddy Pig are having a lovely time in the water.
Crikey!
Gasps Mrs. Kangaroo.
There's a giant wave coming.
Everyone on the beach shouts and waves at Daddy Pig, but he can't hear what they're saying.
Oh, oh.
He chuckles. The giant wave gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It picks up Daddy Pig and carries him along.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
George giggles,
Hee!
then holds out his arms. He is using Daddy Pig's tummy as a surfboard. George rides the wave all the way back to the beach. Hooray!
What great balance,
Says Mr. Kangaroo.
He's a natural surfer,
Agrees Mrs. Kangaroo. Peppa and Kylie giggle.
George is the best.
And that was Peppa Pig. Peppa at the beach. George and the Dinosaur. George and the Dinosaur.
Dinosaur! Roar!
Shouted George. George and his friends, Richard Rabbit and Edmund Elephant, loved dinosaurs. Wherever they went, they were always searching for fossils, stones, and bones. In the sandpit, at the playground, and even in Grandpa Pig's garden. One day, when Richard and Edmund came to play, Mummy Pig had a special surprise. "We're going on a fossil hunting adventure at the beach," she said, "with Miss Rabbit, the fossil hunter."
Are fossils always dinosaurs, Mummy?
Asked Peppa.
They can also be the remains of plants or animals from a long, long time ago,
explained Mummy Pig. The children put on their fossil hunting clothes and packed their bags with their special tools and fact books.
Ready to go exploring?
Mummy Pig asked.
Yes!
Cheered Peppa, George and George's friends, jumping up and down. The brave explorers set off to meet Miss Rabbit at the beach.
The tide was high last night, said Miss Rabbit when they arrived. Hopefully there'll be lots of wonderful things whipped up for us by the waves for us to discover. Yippee! Cheered the children. But if not, you can always buy fossils from my shop at the end, Miss Rabbit continued. There's an offer on today. 2 for the price of 1. Miss Rabbit took out her fossil collection to show the children. The swirly rock is an ammonite, she said. And these shiny rocks are called fool's gold. Miss Rabbit held up some little rocks with gold bits in them. Ooh, gold, gasped Peppa. I love hunting for treasure. Unfortunately, it's not real gold, Peppa, explained Miss Rabbit, but it's lovely and shiny. This one is a belemnite, said Edmund, looking at Miss Rabbit's fossils. It's an extinct mollusk, and I believe that one is fossilised poo. Ugh, poo, snorted the other childrens. Don't worry, said Edmund. The poo is millions of years old. Edmund Elephant was very clever. Wow, said Miss Rabbit. You really know your stuff, Edmund. George pulled out a dinosaur book from his bag. Dinosaur! Roar! He asked, showing Miss Rabbit a picture of a dinosaur. No one has ever found a complete dinosaur skeleton on this beach, I'm afraid, George, said Miss Rabbit, but you might find some little fossils like this one in my collection. Then Miss Rabbit turned to them all and said, Now, shall we get started? Peppa walked along the beach, looking at the ground, but she soon gave up. I can't see anything, Mummy, she said. Just lots and lots of sand and stones. I'm going to build a sandcastle instead. Meanwhile, George, Edmund and Richard explored the beach together. They took their fossil hunting mission very seriously. After Peppa had finished her sandcastle, she peered over at George. Look, Mummy, she called. George has found something. Mummy Pig and Miss Rabbit looked over at George. Their mouths dropped open. The explorers were pointing to a huge rock further down the beach. Oh dear, Mummy Pig, sighed Miss Rabbit. It looks like you're bringing the whole beach home with you. Hello, George, said Mummy Pig. What do we have here then? Dinosaur, said George, holding his arms out as wide as they could go. Big dinosaur. We believe this rock contains the complete skeleton of a dinosaur, explained Edmund. George found footprints in the rocks near it, which are a clear sign. Can you help us crack it open, please? Are you sure it's not just a big rock? Mummy Pig asked. But then Miss Rabbit took a closer look at it and pulled out her phone. Yes, that's right. Very big, she said into her phone. Please come immediately. Soon after, Mr. Rabbit arrived in a big truck with a team of helpers. Very carefully, they lifted the rock onto the truck. We'll meet you at the museum, Mr. Rabbit called out as they drove off. At the museum, everyone watched excitedly as Mr. Rabbit and his team cracked open the rock. Everyone gasped.
Mr. Rabbit was the first to speak. What we have here is a complete skeleton of...
Dinosaur!
interrupted George. That's correct. It is a dinosaur. In fact, it is a triceratops, confirmed Mr. Rabbit. George, you are an expert fossil hunter, aren't you? This is an amazing dinosaur discovery.
Wow!
Everyone cried, looking at the skeleton. Even Peppa was impressed. Now, said Mr. Rabbit, what shall we call this incredible dinosaur?
George saw us first, cried Peppa, because George saw the dinosaur first.
Roar! Cheered George. Everyone laughed. In that case, I officially name this dinosaur the Georgosaurus Roar! Announced Mr. Rabbit. A big dinosaur needs a big name like that. Everyone loves fossil hunting and dinosaurs, especially George, the dinosaur expert. And that was Peppa Pig, George and the dinosaur. Oh, Peppa Pig. Peppa at the museum. Peppa and George are helping Grandpa Pig build a pond. We will start by digging a hole, says Grandpa Pig.
Grandpa, asks Peppa, what's that in the mud?
She has spotted something buried in the ground. Peppa has found a little teacup. It looks very old.
Dinosaur!
Shouts George. He has found something too.
Yes, George, says Peppa, that does look like a dinosaur bone.
Grandpa Pig keeps digging. He discovers a gold coin. More buried treasure. Granny Pig comes outside. She is carrying a garden gnome. I bought it for the garden, she says. Grandpa Pig does not like gnomes.
Do you really think we found buried treasure?
Asks Peppa. Grandpa Pig drives Peppa and George to the museum.
Let's find out,
he says. Mr. Rabbit works at the museum. He is in charge of caring for old things.
Hello, Mr. Rabbit, says Peppa. We've dug up some treasure.
She holds up her teacup. Grandpa Pig gets out his coin. Fine china. Very interesting, says Mr. Rabbit. And a coin too. But George has found the best treasure of all. Mr. Rabbit takes everyone to the dinosaur room. You found a thigh bone, he cries. It fits my dinosaur perfectly.
Hooray! Cheers Peppa. Dinosaur!
Grrr, says George. Thank you for bringing these valuable objects into the museum, says Mr. Rabbit. Valuable, splutters Grandpa Pig. Are they worth something? Mr. Rabbit nods. Oh, yes, they are worth a lot of money. He puts Peppa's teacup and Grandpa Pig's coin in a glass case. Then he locks them up. Mr. Rabbit wants to know if there is any more treasure buried in Grandpa Pig's garden. Mr. Bull is an expert at digging, he says. Mr. Bull makes a very big hole, but he doesn't find much. Crash! Smash!
Same as usual, he says. A load of broken pottery and smashed stuff. Never mind, says Grandpa Pig. You've dug my pond for me.
Mr. Rabbit spots Granny Pig's gnome.
Now that's a rare treasure. It's very valuable. The gnome should go to the museum, Grandpa Pig decides.
Don't worry, Granny, chuckles Peppa. I'll visit it with you any time you like.
And that was Peppa Pig. Peppa at the museum. Peppa Pig. Peppa at the petting farm. Peppa, George and Rebecca Rabbit are going to visit a petting farm.
Mummy,
Says Peppa.
what can we do there?
Oh, well, you can feed and stroke tiny little animals, replies Mummy Pig.
Ooh,
Gasps Rebecca.
I love tiny little animals.
Mrs. Badger is the farmer who looks after the tiny little animals. Now, before we meet them, she says, there is one thing we have to do.
Wash our hands,
Says Peppa and Rebecca. That's right, says Mrs. Badger. The children go to see the chickens first. Would you like to feed them? Asks Mrs. Badger. Peppa, George and Rebecca each take a bag of birdseed.
Here, chickie, 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 chickie.
Say the chickens. Next, Mrs. Badger has a surprise for everyone. Now, she says, who wants to hold a baby chick?
Me, me, me,
Shout the children. Peppa giggles. The chicks are so fluffy and sweet. Soon it's time for the children to wash their hands again and go to see some other animals. These are the guinea pigs, says Mrs. Badger.
Ooh,
Cries Rebecca.
look at their cute little faces and their fluffy little bodies.
Says Peppa. Guinea pigs make excellent pets, says Mrs. Badger.
Can we have a pet guinea pig, please?
Asks Peppa.
Please?
She says. Daddy Pig frowns at Mummy Pig.
Oh, look at the time,
He says.
We have to be getting home.
Mummy Rabbit comes to collect Rebecca. She has brought the baby twins, Rosie and Robbie.
Baby rabbits are so cute,
Says Peppa.
Please, can we cuddle them?
Mummy Rabbit nods. There is just one thing to do first. Wash, 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 scrub, scrub, scrub. Now Peppa and Rebecca's hands are clean. They can cuddle the twins.
Have you had a nice time today?
Asks Mummy Rabbit.
Yes!
Laughs Peppa.
We have had lots of cuddles.
Peppa loves the petting farm. Everyone loves the petting farm. And that was Peppa Pig. Peppa at the petting farm. Peppa learns French. The phone rings at Peppa's house. It is Monsieur Donkey. He is speaking French. Luckily, Mummy Pig can speak French. He's asked if little Delphine Donkey could visit us, says Mummy Pig. Delphine is Peppa's pen pal. Peppa and her family arrive at the railway station.
That's Delphine's train,
says Peppa excitedly. Last stop, all change, terminus, tout le monde descend, shouts Miss Rabbit, the train driver. Toot toot! Delphine gets off the train. Monsieur Donkey gets off too. He is carrying an enormous case. Hello, Delphine, says Peppa.
Bonjour, Peppa.
Says Delphine Donkey. Peppa, bonjour means hello in French, says Mummy Pig. Monsieur Donkey drops the enormous case on the ground. Thud.
Bonjour, Monsieur Donkey,
says Daddy Pig.
My goodness. Is that huge case Delphine's?
Yes, Delphine has brought a few little things for her visit, says Monsieur Donkey. Things you do not have over here. Cheese, bread, tomatoes. Monsieur Donkey loads the huge case on top of Peppa's car. It's very heavy. Au revoir, Delphine. I will be back to pick you up tomorrow night, says Monsieur Donkey.
Au revoir, Papa.
Says Delphine. Peppa, au revoir means goodbye in French, explains Mummy Pig. After dinner, it's time to go to bed. Peppa and Delphine want to share a bed.
Good night, little ones,
says Daddy Pig. Dormez bien, whispers Mummy Pig. Peppa, dormez bien means sleep well in French. Peppa and Delphine can't sleep. I'm not sleepy at all, says Peppa.
Let's sing a little song to make us sleepy.
Says Delphine.
Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines, ding dang dong, ding dang dong.
Sings Delphine. Delphine's French song has sent Peppa and George to sleep. The next day, Delphine visits Peppa's playgroup. Madame Gazelle, this is my French friend Delphine, says Peppa. She sang a French song last night. Can we teach her an English song? Ruff! How about the Bing Bong song? Suggests Danny Dog. Miss Madame Gazelle plays her guitar. Woo! We're playing a tune and we're singing a song with the bing and the bong and the bing. Bong bing boo, bing bong bing, bing bong bingy bongy boo, sings Madame Gazelle. Bong bing boo, bing bong bing, bing bong bingly bongly boo, sing the children. Delphine has learned lots of new English words.
Bing bong, bingly bungly, and boo!
And that was Peppa Pig. Peppa learns French. Peppa Pig. Peppa's Castle Adventure. Peppa and George are going to visit a castle today,
Maybe we will see a dragon,
says Daddy Pig. Grrr, says George. George likes dragons. Only a pretend dragon, says Peppa. Dragons are not really real. Daddy Pig parks the car in the car park. Welcome to the castle tour, says Miss Rabbit. Cars are parked at owner's own risk. What does that mean? Asks Peppa.
Nothing.
Snorts Daddy Pig.
They always say that in car parks.
Mr. Rabbit comes out of the castle. He is dressed in armour, like a knight. The castle tour starts here, he says. Let's fire the cannon! A cannonball shoots out of the cannon. It flies all the way down to the car park.
Boo, boo, hee hee,
Giggles George. This is where the king and queen would sit, says Mr. Rabbit. It is the throne room.
George can be the king and I can be queen,
decides Peppa. May I carry on with the tour, your majesties? Asks Mr. Rabbit.
Yes, giggles Peppa. You may.
Mr. Rabbit opens the door to a secret passageway. It leads to the dining hall.
Look at all the food!
Gasps Daddy Pig.
It's a real banquet,
Cries Mummy Pig. Peppa picks up a bread roll. Oh, the food is made of plastic. Don't worry, says Mr. Rabbit. Your real banquet is coming. Miss Rabbit brings in 4 little boxes.
Here we are, she cries. Ye olde cheese sandwich with Jester's pickle. It's a banquet in a box,
cheers Peppa. And now, says Mr. Rabbit, it's time to meet the dragon. Peppa and George climb to the top of the castle. A huge dragon stomps towards them. Thump, thump, thump. With Miss Rabbit waving from the top. The dragon is a robot. The robot dragon marches all the way up to the castle.
It nearly crushed our car,
splutters Daddy Pig.
Cars are parked at owner's own risk,
Miss Rabbit reminds him. Cheers, George. He loves castles. Everyone loves castles. And that was Peppa Pig. Peppa's Castle Adventure. Simple science. It is playtime at Peppa's playgroup, but the playground is already busy.
Stop!
Shouts Mr. Bull.
Mr. Bull, what are you doing to our playground?
Asks Peppa.
We're digging it up,
replies Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull loves digging. Daddy Pig arrives. He has planned the new playground using maths and science.
Today, children, I am going to teach you some simple science,
says Daddy Pig.
Can you guess how many of you it would take to lift Madame Gazelle?
It is time to find out the answer. Peppa cannot lift Madame Gazelle. Peppa and Danny Dog cannot lift Madame Gazelle. But Peppa, Danny, and Susie Sheep can do it together. It takes 3 children to lift Madame Gazelle.
We just did some simple science,
says Daddy Pig.
Now please make a tower of blocks.
Rebecca Rabbit, Pedro Pony, Zoe Zebra, and Emily Elephant make a stack of 5 blocks.
Very good,
says Daddy Pig.
But the tower looks a little wobbly. Does anyone know how we can make the tower less wobbly?
Asks Daddy Pig.
Put the tower big blocks at the bottom and the small blocks at the top,
suggests Edmund Elephant. Edmund is a clever clogs.
Well done, Edmund,
says Daddy Pig.
That is right.
The children go outside again.
Who can tell me what we need to make a muddy puddle?" asks Daddy Pig.
Dirt and water, says Susie. Daddy Pig makes a puddle and asks Peppa to test it. This puddle is too dry, she sighs. Daddy Pig adds more water to the puddle.
"Please jump again, Peppa," he says.
Oh, the puddle is just right, cheers Peppa. All the children jump up and down in the puddle.
"Making muddy puddles is a bit like making concrete," says Daddy Pig. "We're using concrete to make your new playground," says Daddy Pig. "It starts off wet and soft, just like mud. Then it sets and goes hard forever."
The big mixer pours concrete into the hole. Daddy Pig jumps in and stirs the concrete with his spade.
"Now it is gloopy like custard," he tells the children. "Soon it will set as hard as rock." Daddy Pig, I think you should step out of there," warns Mr. Bull.
The concrete sets hard.
"All thanks to a bit of simple science," says Daddy Pig. "Now, Mr. Bull, what were you saying?" "I was trying to tell you to say that you should step out of the concrete before it sets," answers Mr. Bull. Says Daddy Pig.
Daddy Pig is stuck in the concrete.
"Don't worry, Daddy Pig. I'll have you out of here in a jiffy," says Mr. Bull. How?" says Daddy Pig. "I'll dig up the playground," says Mr. Bull.
The children love watching Daddy Pig being dug out of concrete. And that was Peppa Pig. Simple science. Peppa Pig. Sun, sea, and snow. Peppa and George are going on a coach trip to the seaside with Mummy and Daddy Pig. Yippee! Says Peppa. I'm going to build lots of sandcastles. Then she looks out of the window. Oh no! A lot of snow has fallen overnight. Daddy Pig opens the door and goes out. A snowman comes back in.
"Oh, I'm cold,"
says the snowman. It's a talking snowman! Gasps Peppa. It's Daddy Pig, Peppa, says Mummy Pig. There is so much snow, it has covered him. Everyone warms up Daddy Pig by rubbing him with towels.
"Ooh, that's better," says Daddy Pig.
Now we can go to the seaside! Hooray! Cheers Peppa. I don't think the coach will be running today, Peppa, says Mummy Pig. Not with all this snow. Miss Rabbit's coach arrives at Peppa's house. How did you get through all that snow? Asks Mummy Pig. My big snowplow pushes the snow out of the way, says Miss Rabbit. Next stop, the seaside. They set off for the seaside. On the way, they pass Mr. Bull and his team gritting the road. The grit melts the snow.
"The road is clear all the way to the seaside," says Mr. Bull. "Have a lovely day at the beach," says Mr. Bull.
Peppa and her friends are very excited. They sing a happy seaside song. We're all going on a seaside holiday, sandcastle swimming and sunny skies. We're all going on a seaside holiday, sea and sun and ice cream too. The coach arrives at the seaside. The beach is covered in snow, says Peppa. The sea looks cold, says Miss Rabbit. I was looking forward to a swim, says Mummy Pig, disappointed. Mummy Pig decides to go swimming in the sea anyway. Is it cold, Mummy? It is a little cold, calls back Mummy Pig. If you keep moving, you'll warm up, says Mummy Sheep. I'll keep moving then, says Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig runs out of the sea again. Now it is Mummy Pig's turn to be warmed up. Peppa, George and Daddy Pig rub her with towels. Oh, that's better, says Mummy Pig. It's too cold to go swimming and there's no sand to play with. What shall we do now? Asks Peppa. Miss Rabbit has an idea. Who wants an ice cream? She asks. Everyone likes ice cream at the seaside. Everyone chooses their favourite flavour. I love vanilla, says Peppa. Daddy Pig has a good idea too.
We can't make sandcastles as the beach is covered in snow, but we can make snow castles, says Daddy Pig.
I love the seaside,
says Susie Sheep. Ruff, and I love the snow, says Danny Dog. I love the seaside and the snow, says Peppa. Everyone loves the seaside and the snow. Hi! And that was Peppa Pig, Sun, Sea and Snow. Peppa Pig, Zoe Zebra. This is Peppa's friend, Zoe Zebra. Zoe's daddy is the postman. Hello, Peppa, says Zoe. This letter is for you. Thank you, Zoe, says Peppa. Zoe has twin baby sisters called Zaza and Zuzu. Zaza and Zuzu want to join in with the big girls' sleepover. Ah, sighs Zoe. Ah, says Peppa, they are so sweet and little. Zoe has a lovely princess outfit. She puts it on when Peppa comes to play. I'm Princess Zoe, says Zoe. And I'm Princess Peppa. Zoe's mummy does pottery. Sometimes she lets Zoe and Peppa do pottery too. Let's make teacups, says Peppa. Good idea, agrees Zoe. Peppa has lots of fun with her friend Zoe. Zoe's favourite thing is cuddling her toy monkey and having tea parties with Peppa. Peppa loves Zoe Zebra. Everyone loves Zoe Zebra. And that was Peppa Pig, Zoe Zebra. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, be sure and like the video. And remember, you can always subscribe to the channel at Read Us a Story. Thanks. Bye.